If you're a fan of the MMORPG genre, you've probably seen at least a couple lists over the last couple years with what MMORPGs you should be excited about in the year to come. And those lists over the last couple years have probably had several of the same names on them. Ashes of Creation, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, the Riot MMO. Games that have just not materialized into full releases, despite our hopes and dreams that they will in the coming year. So that's not what this video is going to be about. I'm going to be trying to give you a list of the games and the testing phases that are probably most likely going to happen. I have tried to cut out some of the fluff from this list to kind of show you things that I legitimately believe could happen next year in 2023 and provide you at least some reasoning as to why. But that said, why not have at least a little bit of wild speculation at the end, as a treat. And speaking of things at the end, I recently had a charity stream where I said that if we reached the goal, I would shave my head. And we reached the goal. So stay tuned to the end when I take this off and you can see if I actually owned up to it or not. Now, our first game on the list is going to be Corepunk. Corepunk is an open world top-down MMORPG coming from developer Artificial Core. It was announced back in December of 2019. Now, it has been a long time since IGN described the MMORPG as part Cyberpunk, part Diablo, and part Ultima Online. But progress seems to still be being made despite the emergency caused by the invasion of Ukraine, as Artificial Core's main development studio was based in Kiev. The studio is based out of Amsterdam, Netherlands, but had offices in Kiev, Ukraine, Athens, Greece, and Los Angeles, California. Corepunk has been in development for years and has already seen delays, with the original beta plans being back in 2020. But recently, the team over at Corepunk has said they are on track for closed beta testing toward the end of this year or early 2023. My bet is on early next year, as we are already approaching very quickly the end of 2022. Now, there's no telling how long the beta phases will last, but if they go well, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we could see an official launch of Corepunk in 2023. Now, on this second game, I'm cheating a little bit because it's not actually talking about a worldwide release. Blue Protocol looks like it'll be releasing in Japan in 2023 and perhaps also in South Korea. This anime-inspired MMO is actually looking pretty damn good, and the combat looks like a lot of fun. For anyone not based in those countries or that doesn't have a VPN, you may be waiting a while for this game, as there are currently no plans listed for a worldwide release of Blue Protocol. However, we might actually be getting a big announcement on the Game Awards for this, specifically for the global release audience. While I'm not sure that this will have anything to do with 2023, we could get some clarity on when we might actually be seeing Blue Protocol in the rest of the world. If there will in fact be a global release, which it's seeming to look like it might be, but it's all purely speculation at this point, based off of a hint towards an announcement at the Game Awards. So look forward to that if you're going to be watching the Game Awards. Just another reason to. And I'll give a quick shout out here to my good friend Mr. Guybrush, who will be streaming the Game Awards. You might want to check out his stream if you're looking into it. So perhaps there might still be a little bit of hope for us that we could be getting an announcement, at least, if not a launch in 2023, for a global release of Blue Protocol. Still, I will leave most of the hype for this game to MMO Bytes, because they handle anime MMOs a hell of a lot better than I ever could. Now, I feel like I have been talking about this game specifically ad nauseum for the last couple months. Throne and Liberty was delayed to 2023 by NCSoft, but it kind of seems like things are coming to a head with this game. I have some concerns about the release window being early 2023 with a lack of public testing to this point, but 2023 was always more realistic than 2022 for this game that has had kind of a tortured development cycle, with a complete rework from its roots as a Lineage top-down game. I fully expect in 2023 we'll be flying around in our bird forms in this interesting spiritual successor to Lineage. Time will tell if they've made a mistake pivoting away from their flagship series lore to create something new, or if it will have similar success to one of the biggest MMOs ever made. Lineage was at the height of MMO success back when it was first launching, with hitting mind-boggling numbers of 3 million active players. Now, the most interesting departure for me from this is that NCSoft has been talking up the PvE of this upcoming game, Throne and Liberty, and not just the PvP. We'll just have to wait and see what we actually get in 2023. Now, remember how I was talking about testing phases, not just MMO launches? Well, that's what we're going to talk about with these next 2 games. Ashes of Creation recently announced targeted testing for Alpha 2 this year. So you might say that this testing phase has already started, targeted and only on invites only. I wouldn't say we're quite in Alpha 2 yet for Ashes of Creation, but with them starting right now, as long as things go well, I could very easily see in the first half or the first 3 quarters of 2023 getting into Alpha 2 for Ashes of Creation, which would be a huge milestone. There have been tons of updates to Ashes of Creation since Alpha 1 back in summer of 2021, including a changeover to Unreal Engine 5, and with all of its upgrades. This will be a big step for the game, and it will include lots more testers than they've had previously, especially considering the price tag to get into Alpha 2 is $250, significantly down from the pricing to get in for Alpha 1. Speaking of pricing and alphas, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. This might be a little bit more wild speculation than Ashes of Creation when I'm talking about this testing phase. And apparently I have not learned my lesson from guessing at Alpha last year for 2022. So let's consider this my annual rose-tinted glasses look at Pantheon Rise of the Fallen and my hope that Alpha will be coming sooner rather than later. Specifically, Alpha in 2023. My reasoning behind the change in testing phases is the major completions of the HDRP conversion and the near completion of the networking overhaul. We'll know a lot more of the state of things with the game in December when Pantheon holds a pre-alpha test or tests, which will hopefully lay the groundwork for moving into the next phase of testing in 2023. I'm not willing to pinpoint a month or even a quarter when I expect it, but I would be surprised if we don't get Alpha for Pantheon in 2023. My thoughts on this Alpha testing may get pushed back a little bit if we see any more reworks or if we see networking continuing to be a roadblock for the game. And perhaps the most wild speculation that we will have in this video, Archage 2. Now, I'm not talking about the launch of Archage in 2023. That has already been confirmed as being in 2024. What I'm considering for Archage 2 is we might have some testing phases in 2023. Archage 2 is an MMO being developed by XL Games in Unreal Engine 5, and it's being published by Cacao Games. We know very little about this game, but what we do know is that it'll be a sandbox game like its predecessor with extensive housing systems and ships. It will take place 2,000 years before the original Archage. And as I was saying, the launch date has already been confirmed for 2024 in both an official announcement as well as in their investor document. And while testing phases will be nice, I think one of the main things a lot of us are going to be looking at with a game like Archage is going to be, what will the monetization models be? What is Archage 2 going to be? Will it be like Archage Unchained? Will it be like Archage, or will it be somewhere in the middle or something worse? We'll just have to wait and see, but hopefully we'll get a lot more of that information in 2023. The last game I want to talk about is more of a question for you than an announcement. Consider this kind of like my research for what is an MMORPG. What do you consider an MMORPG? Because the game I want to talk about is Arc 2. It's looking like it should be a solid release for 2023. The game looks stunning, and that's not just because of Vin Diesel. Arc 2 is going to be an open world survival game with online multiplayer, RPG components like leveling up and skill trees, but it'll also allow mods and user generated content. One might assume servers will be smaller than what you might expect for a traditional MMORPG. So what do you consider a game like Arc 2 or Conan Exiles, for example? I've always kind of called them like an MMO light, like not quite an MMORPG. Not quite as massive. The user experience can vary a lot more when you have add-ons and different customization. So that's always kept me from considering it distinctly in the MMORPG persistent world. But I'm curious what you think and if you would consider it to be an MMORPG, a multiplayer online game, or something in the middle. What are some hallmarks of the MMORPG that make you think of it that way. It's kind of to me like an almost MMO, a survival MMO. But that's what I have for 2023. I didn't want to put out too much hope for games that I did not have a reasonable expectation that things would actually materialize. So I wanted to kind of keep us all a little grounded going into 2023. And I'm sure I will regret a lot of the alpha testing predictions that I've already made. But that's it, right? Like, I don't have to do anything else for this. There's nothing that I promised at the outset of this video that I would do or show. So I can just say, hey, you know, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like down here. And I want to say thank you to all the members of the channel who really keep it going. And, you know, you can see them right over here. Here, this is what I look like with my head shaved. Thank you to everybody that donated to the American Heart Association. I really appreciate you hitting that goal with me. Thank you so much. My name is Redbeard Flynn. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're looking forward to 2023 for whatever game you're playing, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.